name is Liam Young and I'm a speculative architect and filmmaker. And for Human Plus, I developed the installation called Machines of Post-Natural History. And it's a collection of glimpses, visions, and objects that are taken from a near-future production line that stretches across the entirety of the planet. And the project is exploring this context where almost everything that we own and we buy, from the clothes on our back to the technologies in our pocket, is not produced in a single site anymore, but it's produced from multiple factories that are scattered across the earth. So the machines of post-human production are taken from what could be described as a conveyor belt which stretches all the way around the earth, connecting the holes in the ground and the mine sites at the edges of the earth from which our mineral resources come from, all the way through to the ports and the shipping containers where all those objects and technologies are finally sent off to their destination where they're consumed. So what the project is doing is trying to explore this condition where these systems of production are now becoming almost entirely autonomous. So what used to be a constellation of people digging things out of the ground with shovels, or putting things together by hand, or captaining ships sailing across the seas to bring our goods to where we live, is now actually a constellation of robots. And the humans in that system are now just repurposed as components in a planetary scaled robot. So this project is exploring what those machines might look like, and also what we as humans have become in these strange kind of collaborations in the service of those machines, where the body is matched in speed to the conveyor belt that's turning in front of it. So the installation consists of 2 films, both which are these panoramic skylines of this planetary scaled production line. One is from inside the factory, one is from a village of production in China, and a series of models that are made from plastic robot kits which have been scoured from hobby shops in Japan and hacked together. Because those models that we're using to make these things are visions of Gundam and kind of Japanese large-scale robots, our fantasies of what robots would become, but they've been repurposed into the reality of what robots really will be, which is machines to make the things that we own, not glamorous, not war bots, but just conveyor belts, autonomous ships, and production line robots.
So we are BeAnotherLab, and we are an interdisciplinary art collective, and we do research on empathy and identity. So basically what we do is that we give you the illusion to feel and see yourself in the body of someone else. We based our work in the idea of how the world would be like if you can really put yourself in the shoes of someone else. You know, this idea that tells us that in order to understand better the other, you have to put yourself in that skin. No? This is a very common idea. So we wonder about the possibilities of the human mind to be able to achieve that. So we combine neuroscience and neuropsychology protocols, techniques, and research with virtual reality hardware and system, and with performance art. So we create a system that is called the machine to be another. The machine to be another put yourself in the shoes of someone else through a mixture of all of this combination of technology and art and research, with the idea of that you can understand better the other, the self, and understand that we are part of the same collective that is humanity. So in the context of Human Plus, we wonder about the possibilities of the human to transcend, to blur the line that defines us as a self and not differentiate from the other, thinking that we can blur that line and become one and really go through a process of empathy and empathic behavior and compassion. Ultimately, we need action. So the machine to be another work here in the museum, in the exposition, gives you the possibility to swap bodies with someone else. So you come, and then you can interact with someone. You can put the headset. You see yourself with different hands, with different body, and then you get to sense. You have this embodiment illusion, and body ownership illusion. That when you see a different hands and when you see a different body, your brain started to believe that it's actually possible to be in someone else. So we create this tool as a tool to promote mutual understanding, tolerance, conflict resolution, and ultimately to promote an empathic behavior and compassion among the public. We also focus our work in social storytelling. So we go to communities, we go in search for stories from people, stories that want to be heard, that deserve to be heard. And also we create these documentaries, this way of embodied storytelling to create a way of stories to be heard. So it's also an approach, an open source, non-commercial approach on empathy and working with communities in a social way.
Let me describe you the concept behind Area V5. There are two main points. One is dealing with artificial intelligence, and the other one is about social robotics. These are two very contemporary themes about machines and human relation. As you can see, they are skulls, so it's totally talking about the old concept of intelligence being in the brain, which was done by Descartes, for instance, as a philosopher. So these are quite old things. And now, as you can see in the exhibit here, Human Plus, the role of the body is totally changed in terms of the perception of intelligence. So it's conflicting about what this is. And as well, when you look at the machine, when you think about how intelligent it is or competent it is, these machines, they just gaze at you when you walk by. And just that reflex is seen as being intelligent, because after all, the eyes are the mirror of the soul, as they say. And in science, what they do is actually they use the prominent role of the eyes as to establish variable communication with a machine or anything that you interact with. As soon as you feel that you're being gazed at, you feel that there's a communication. Actually, everything is being very narcissistic about how we perceive things. So it's always about me in the relation with these objects. Area V5, the way it's set up, it takes root in a few, let's say, visual icons. First of all, it's talking about what they call Uncanny Valley, how we react to robots and see how we're uncomfortable when they come close to being alive or close to being like humans. So in this case, it's literally done to make the robot look like almost like a dead animal, like it's just basically skulls. Actually, there are skull racks like this in villages in South America to get people, let's say, warn them not to come in the village. So it's inspired by this. And as well, this representation, it's derived from what the visible man, which used to be a little model that you can make of humans so you can see the inside. So there's always something when you have a cut and it's kind of anatomy of what's there, so you kind of like look at it almost as a scientific element. And all these elements are all about making yourself uncomfortable facing this, but at the end it becomes more a game. We accept this really quickly. Actually, the Uncanny Valley, which is very pseudo-scientific, they use it a lot in movies. When you see animation, things like this, you go, oh, this is not quite right. It's been proposed in many places in the scientific field, but there's actually no scientific evidence at all about the fact that we accept or not any, let's say, foreign artifact.